Welcome to TizibaneTVShow. I'm your host, Bwalya K Moonga, and on today, on this table, I'm having my guest who is none other than Mr. Bwalya Moonga. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. How have you been?
I've been okay, sir. Not doing about you.
I'm handsome.
It's obvious that you are, because just how the face itself, it's steady to say.
Precisely.
Sure. We are very much humbled that you are here.
It's a privilege as well for hosting me. I do appreciate it as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so just to start with, you are so familiar with, TV set and so forth, and a lot of people know you. But just to someone out there watching you for the first time, would like to know, to say, okay, who's this man? Okay, so who is Bwalya Moonga?
All right, for a starter, Bwalya K Moonga, that's my full names. Others, street introduction, they say those are my full names. Bwalya K Moonga. So I'm a media personality, I'm a blogger, I'm also a brand ambassador for Royalty Creation Photography. I'm a digital marketer, also a TV and a radio presenter. I'm also a poet. I'm also a project manager, event planner as well, just to mention the few things from what I do.
Okay.
And I'm a single man.
Wow. You've now given out someone there and say, wow, I'm single. Okay, so as you are fully to say, on today I would just like you to highlight or to give out someone out, encourage out someone out there watching on the issue of our theme. It's called how can one gain back the vision of their career? Okay, we've seen a lot of youths nowadays having, when you're growing up, you say, no, my career is to be this, but the moment you start facing, or you're growing up, in the process of growing up, you end up losing that focus or that vision. So now, my question or someone's question out there would like to say, okay, how can one gain his or her vision of their career?
All right, so we have to understand the definition of a career.
Sure.
And in simplistical manner, to say career is a chosen line of work. So when you say chosen line of work, it could be multiple jobs, it could be maybe what you're doing at that particular time. You're an artist, or rather maybe you want to become an artist, that could be your career, or maybe you want to become a doctor. So how can you gain that momentum of finding yourself, achieving what you've been dreaming, or keeping, you have a positive energy of you being a teacher, for instance. So you have to understand the purpose of why you want to become a teacher. You have to understand the purpose of why you want to become that artist. So gaining your career, it doesn't just come all of a sudden, but it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of understanding pertaining what you want to achieve.
Sure.
And a lot of interest in this, because you can't achieve something minus you not having a keen interest in it. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so now there are situations, someone out there would say, okay, yeah, he's saying what he's saying is very much important, and I've been doing that. But in terms of maybe you are growing up, okay, then you face a certain situation that hinders your career. At the end of the day, you just decide to say, okay, let's just have okay. So how can you help such kind of a person with that situation right now?
All right, so in most cases, I think I've been a victim as well, or the issue of giving up.
Sure.
Yeah, especially where media is really concerned, because I'm involved into media, and it has really been crucial for me, where there are just some certain levels that you really want to achieve. But all of a sudden, sometimes you feel like you're not really doing enough. And sometimes where I'll get caught in a situation where I don't know whether I'm pushing or I'm drawing myself back. So what you have to do is you have to discover your certain weakness and strength in everything that you're doing. Because there are sometimes that people just force things, right?
Sure.
Like you are a presenter, you are a photographer. You've never even played soccer, you've never been on the pitch, you don't even know how the ball is kicked. So for you to go out there and try to become or be called a soccer or a footballer, it means there are some certain trials that you need to understand for you to fully be certified as someone who's capable of doing something. So in most cases, a lot of people, they just do things without dedication. I mentioned dedication and interest.
Sure.
When you're dedicated to something, despite of the flaws, despite of the blows, despite of the weakness, you always keep your head floating up above the water. That's how it is.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's so encouraging. That's so encouraging. Again, there are just some times whereby you've been trying. You've been trying. You tried. You at the first time wanted to give up, but you have to gather yourself, the courage, then you started again. Again, repeatedly, so again you face the same challenge, then you just say, okay, I think time has now gone. Okay, this is not my thing. I've been trying and trying and trying. I think time is not, it's not with me right now. Okay, how can such kind of person who was like, maybe 10 years and not eat, so this is not my thing. Someone would just used to say time as the reason, say, 10 years and not eat. Okay, without achieving that career, how can you help someone saying, I think time is not with me right now?
All right, so what you have to understand is that when it comes to achieving something,
Sure.
You don't really have to look at the age. Because if you focus at your age, it means it will be very difficult for you to achieve something. We'll give an example of the one who owns the brand, KFC, Kentucky Chicken. He became a billionaire, if not mistaken, at the age of, is it 60 or 72? Going up there. He didn't become a billionaire at the age of 30 or 40, but he became at an aged time. So if you are planning, maybe you're planning on achieving something, and then maybe you feel like, okay, looking at my age, I'm getting old, and because of this, I feel like I don't have enough time to do this. What you have to understand as young people is that you never have enough time in this world to achieve something. Time is never there for you, and time waits for no one. It's up to you to pick yourself up, regardless of the environment you're in, regardless of the time you're having at that particular time. You just have to work hard. Just like they always say, work hard or push as if it's your last day to live on earth.
Okay.
So age and time doesn't really guarantee your success.
Okay.
You can be successful at any time. It all depends with how much you've been putting much effort.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So encouraging. But someone out there again who likes, okay, this guy, okay, he's just bringing out point, but has he ever been in such kind of a situation? Have you ever been, found yourself in a situation where you say, I think this situation, it's too much?
Okay, I found myself in such a situation. I'm going to bring in the issues of media and media personality.
Sure.
Especially the time that I was actually in Botswana for quite some time, because I've worked for BT Botswana television before.
Okay.
So we had some kind of workshops where we were actually picked to go and do some certain projects with BBC Media Action. And you know why you find yourself in a group where you feel like you are doing the most, and they were looking at the age of at least maybe from 12 ranging to 18 years in between. Yeah. And my age was favoring me at that particular time, but the skill that I had at that time, I felt like it wasn't really matching with the standard or the recommended stature of those people, like what they recommended of me. So I lost it. In as much as I could feel that particular time that, okay, this was really, really meant for me. I lost it. And moving down, when I came here, especially because from Botswana I had to move to Livingstone, then came to Lusaka, though I used to visit Lusaka for quite some time. It wasn't just so easy for me to just start up, like pull from the mud and started doing some certain things. I had to push. I do a certain program from ZNBC Radio 2. For me to find myself there, I spent about a year just being told that just a year, and I'm being for real for this one. ZNBC is a public service broadcaster. You cannot just go there and then you're given a job, because that's a government. It's a government-owned institution. There's a period that they employ people, or maybe a certain period of 10 years, maybe they employ. But I used to go there, trying to fight just for me to find myself a slot. Things were really hard for about a year. Sometimes I don't have anything. I would walk. Maybe you would walk from here to town, you get on a bus, then you go to ZNBC. From there you start pushing things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Not until I find I've got myself a slot.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's so touching. That's so touching. Okay, so where were you getting the motivation?
I think the motivation comes from Dad, because Dad is not educated.
Wow.
Yes, Dad is not educated, but he has managed to ensure that the kids don't really go to bed on an empty stomach. He has ensured that all of his kids completed education. Yeah, so Dad, I think, reached just somewhere grade 7, grade 8. He never went to school. But speaking of his kids, we're talking of my elder brother, the firstborn. He reached as far as studying like abroad, UK. That's why he did his studies. The second one, she did her studies at the University of Zambia. Third one, he did his studies in South Africa. And the fourth one, I have completed my studies. Okay. The fifth one, she's doing medicine at CBU.
Wow.
Then There comes again my little brother, who just completed grade 12 last year. Then the last born, he's just smaller. So regardless of dad reaching just in grade 6, that his children managed to go beyond what their father, their own dad or their own father couldn't really achieve. So I really get the motivation from him, because he has been pushing, despite of him not having that education, that he managed to become a better person who initially created a favorable environment for his children. Yes.
Wow.
So that is my greatest motivation.
Wow, that's really good. Okay, let me just take you back. The ZNBC issue. The first endorsement. How was it? How was the experience when you were accepted after maybe the year that you've stayed 1 year? Okay, so how was it when how did you feel when you were first accepted? You have now been given a chance to.
It wasn't so exciting rather. I was nervous, because I didn't really know, even if I'm accepted there, how am I going to maintain my... But
for you to be going there for a year, okay, you had it to say, when I'm accepted, okay,
yes,
and I'll be accepted.
I will be accepted, and if I'm accepted, I'm going to do this and that.
Yeah.
But the moment I was approbated, I became more nervous. And in the process of being nervous, I felt like somehow I dwindled a bit, or my confidence, it drew back. Why? Because at that time I was looking at not just at the professionalism of people, but the kind of people who are there.
Sure.
Like, it has one of the best journalists, one of the most prominent journalists that we have in the country, and I felt like, as much as I've been given a chance to be doing one of the shows there, I felt like I couldn't maybe reach their standard, and I might end up being kicked out anytime soon. So I had different thoughts.
Sure.
In as much as I had faith that, okay, this and that is going to work out perfectly, but at some point I had doubts. But what I kept on having in my mind is, regardless of the environment, regardless of how I'm feeling now, I'm going to keep my head above.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow. And how has been the experience of her?
The experience has been good. Sometimes a little bit, shaking, because there's a certain language that I use with ZNBC. Because I also host, I'm the main host for the breakfast show for Classicals FM.
Okay.
Yes, I also used to do a certain program with ZTV. Wow. So currently I'm also with Classicals. I'm their main breakfast show, as well as a main marketer for Shalom Bus Service, a market for them. It doesn't do that. So Classicals, it's a private media. So whenever I'm doing a show there, there's a certain way that I approach people. And when at ZNBC you're doing a show, there's a way that there's a certain language that you use to approach people. Yes.
Wow. That sounds like so challenging. Okay, so speaking as a youth, the way you are, okay, and you've got a lot of things to do. Okay, now someone out there thinking to say, maybe this guy is just immortal. How does he manage doing this? He's at ZNBC, he's at Classical, and so on and so forth. Someone out there asking to say, okay, how does he manage? How does he schedule his time? What are the challenges that he faces? Can I manage? Can someone out there manage doing the things that you do, or just you alone?
A lot of people there that are doing more than what I'm doing, and they can still do more than what I've done.
Sure.
So we are blessed differently by God, regardless of the God that you worship. I don't know the God that they worship out there, sure. But the true God that we worship, we are blessed differently. It's not about what makes someone to be successful. It's not about doing multiple things.
Sure.
But even just from one thing, you can gain your momentum more than people are doing multiple things. So when you're doing a lot of jobs, it's not a guarantee that you become successful. I'll give an example of someone maybe who is doing different jobs, maybe about 5 jobs. Here they're getting paid maybe 100, quarter here 100. At the end of the month, maybe they're getting 500. Then this one is just doing one job where he gets paid about 15,000 by the end of the month. Sure. It means that person with one job, he will get more than that. So multiple tasks, it's not always that you're guaranteed to be getting enough income or success, but it's just a guarantee that you're creating more opportunities for yourself as a young person. So it's very important that as a young person, you get involved in different things. You don't just depend on one thing. For instance, you're a market seller, you don't just depend on that, but you have to come up with something that will back up what you're doing.
Sure. Wow. Okay. This question. Okay. Have you've mentioned to say breakfast show? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that you usually talk to a lot of different people with different mindsets. Was there at any particular point where you felt like you invited this thing, feel like, okay, this person that I'm having is kind of too heavy?
Yes, I've hosted most of the personalities that sometimes I felt like I couldn't really hold them on the platform. Yes, there's sometimes like you invite someone, it's a privilege for them to come through, but if you're nervous, like how am I going to have a conversation with them? You're looking at their speaking, their English. I'll give an example of the time at some point that we had a conversation with Simon Mwalele. He's believed to be that person or individual with much accurate articulation. So there's a bit of some doubting sometimes. How am I going to host this person? Is the show really going to work accordingly? Yeah. So sometimes I even get nervous. I keep on using this word. And as much as I've been media for quite some time, but I get nervous. And out of me being nervous, I've really managed to be creative. Because there's sometimes like you've just been given maybe a script, okay, you're going to host this person by a producer, this is a script. Maybe it's a 1 hour show, you're just given 2 questions. Because in most cases, you ask questions based on what that person is saying.
Sure. So
I panic, and out of panicking, sometimes things don't even work out. You come out of the show like, but Nabuza the show, the show wasn't really amazing. It was actually a mess. There's just such kind of a feeling, and I feel it sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's those are the challenges that mostly we face as presenters. Okay. So now, who inspires you when it comes to presenters?
Who inspires me? I wish Dad was a presenter, but he's not.
Okay.
Okay, everyone inspires me, including you. I really get inspired by each and every media personality there.
Sure.
Yes, each and every platform that I'm given, I get an inspiration from the person who is hosting me, and just each and every individual out there who are into TV, radio hosting, blogging, YouTubers as well. I really get an inspiration from them. Yeah, so I don't actually select like this one. I believe we're all blessed differently.
Sure.
Regardless of the haircut, maybe I'm having the afro, you're having that haircut, but we're all blessed differently. When it comes to media, we're actually blessed with unique styles.
Wow.
So I'm actually actuated by each and every media personality that I meet on the way.
Okay. Wow. That's so. In fact, you mentioned about me. I'm so humble. Okay. So, what are the principles that one needs to put in place for them not to lose their vision?
Okay. So you have to discipline yourself. Yeah, you have to discipline yourself. So some careers, they require financial discipline. Like what we are doing now.
Sure.
We guys were involved. I will also involve myself. We're involved in photography.
Sure.
So for us to keep this vision, we have to discipline ourselves, physical-wise, economic-wise, financial-wise. Yeah. So the greatest weakness in man's life is failing, or being a failure. Yeah. So you have to ensure that you discipline yourself. There's some certain things that you don't. If you feel like there are some certain things that you don't really need when you're taking that journey, let go of them. Yes. For instance, me as an individual, I'm trying to achieve a lot, and in this process, if I don't want to marry, it means I need just one woman.
Sure.
But if you now reach to an extent that you want to use your platform in wanting to go out with different women because trust me, the moment you lack discipline, that's the beginning of you failing. That's the beginning of your vision crumbling. So discipline. Second, dedication. Dedication plays a vital role in everything, including in church. For you to become more spiritual, you have to do it. Become dedicated in reading the Bible and understanding the Word of God. I'm not a pastor, but I'm just speaking from what I've from what I've experienced. So dedication plays a very significant role in you, sharpening up or shaping your vision. So you have to remain dedicated. So you have to focus also. You have to stay focused. A lot of people, they push way too hard, yet they are not focused. You can be working hard, but if you're not focused, you won't go anywhere. All your hard work will go in vain. So you have to ensure that you focus, completely focus on what you're doing.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so now before we let you go or before we wrap up, someone watching you for like just catching with this interview, how can they get in touch with you?
Right, so you can get in touch with me on Facebook. You can reach out to my Facebook page. That's Bwalya K Moonga, double O, of course, not O, single O. Yeah, so Bwalya K Moonga, that's the name that I use on Facebook. You can reach out to my Facebook page. Instagram as well, Bwalya K Moonga as well. Same applies with TikTok as well as Twitter. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so and our last thing, I would like you to first start camera and just say TizibaneTVShow air wako.
TizibaneTVShow air wako. TizibaneTVShow air wako mkwai.
Wow, it's really a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure as well. I really enjoyed coming through here. It has been a great and a massive moment that we've actually experienced.
You're most welcome. It's now your home here. I really just can't wait, you hosting me as your guest, and
I will be looking forward just to have some interaction, and trust me, it's going to be something that will really benefit a lot of young people.
Sure. No, it's really a pleasure having you, like I said.
Precisely, pleasure as well.
Okay, so there you have it. I was talking to Mr. Moonga or Bwalya Moonga, and he has highlighted a lot of stuff that we are lacking. I've been your host, Isaac Tishimba, Oberaye SMP. Big thanks to my manager behind the camera, Mr. John Yamish. We say thank you. It's a shout out.